Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, my kids. In our last lesson, we talked about culture. Today, we are going to explore another part of our culture. We have discussed examples of celebrations and what is important to us. Another way we can see culture is through our traditions. Today, we will learn about how traditions can be unique for families, communities, and our country. Has anyone ever heard the word tradition? What do you think it means? Traditions are the beliefs or behaviors passed down from one generation to the next. For example, maybe your grandma has a traditional meal she cooks each year on Eid al-Fitr. Then she teaches your mother how to prepare that meal, and then your mother teaches you, so this meal becomes a part of your family's tradition, as your family used to cook that meal every year on Eid al-Fitr. So this meal become your family tradition on Eid al-Fitr, as your family used to cook that meal every year on Eid al-Fitr. Or maybe your family goes to the same place on a certain day every year. But pay attention, traditions are not the repeated actions, as going to the market, for example, every Thursday evening, or waking up at 7 every day in the morning. Tradition is something specific for a family or a community. It is not the repeated actions. Now, let's learn about some traditions of Noor's family around the holiday Sham al-Nasim. Open your book, page 168, titled Noor's Traditions. Let's read the story together. Noor wakes up early on Sham al-Nasim. Her mom is already in the kitchen. Good morning, Noor. Are you ready to dye some eggs? Yes, exclaims Noor. Every year, Noor, her brother, and her sister decorate eggs to start Sham al-Nasim. Her mom decorated eggs when she was young too. She often tells Noor stories about dyeing eggs with her mother while they work. After they finish dyeing the eggs, Noor gets dressed quickly. Every year, the family spends the day outside on Sham al-Nasim. They enjoy the gardens and fountains at Al-Azhar Park. Noor loves spending the holiday outside with her family. Now, let's think together. What are the traditions described in the story? Have a look and try to think. What are the traditions described? Yes, that's right. It's dyeing the eggs and going to Al-Azhar Park. Also, the phrase every day, these are the traditions in the text, dyeing eggs and going to Al-Azhar Park. Also, the phrase every day. Here, look here, every day, every year. Also, every year. This phrase is described 2 times in the text. This phrase tells us that we are talking about a tradition because it is repeated every day, every year in the same day, on Sham al-Nasim day. So how did we know that this is a tradition of Noor's family? Because of the phrase every year, which is mentioned 2 times to tell us that on this day every year, Noor and her family make the same things. Let me ask you now about something else. From the story, which tradition was passed on from one generation to another? Yes, exactly. It is the tradition of dyeing eggs. This tradition is started when Noor's mom was little girl. This means that Noor's grandmother would dye eggs with her daughter. Now that her daughter has grown up and is a mom, she's passing along that same tradition to Noor. I have a thinking question for you. How do you think the tradition is being communicated? Did Noor read about the tradition in a book? Or was it described in a storytelling? Try to think how a family tradition can be communicated. Yes, super. A family tradition can be communicated by telling stories, as Noor's mom was telling her about dyeing eggs. Now, it's time to think about our family tradition and where that tradition comes from. Let's capture what we have discussed on page 169. In this table, we are going to describe one of our family traditions. The tradition is, I used to spend every summer vacation in Alexandria. How do we know that is a tradition? We said the word every. So we used to do the same thing every summer vacation. We used to go to Alexandria every summer vacation. Okay, who participated with us? Sure, my family members. I spent the summer vacation in Alexandria with my family members. Where did it come from? Where did this tradition come from? It came from my grandparents. I know about this tradition from my grandparents. How did you learn the tradition? How did I learn this tradition? My father told me stories about his vacations there when he was young. So my father, when he was young like me, he used to go to Alexandria to spend his summer vacation with my grandparents. And then my father told me stories about that. Then my father takes me and all the members of family to spend the summer vacation in Alexandria every year too. So this became a family tradition. Since we all live in the same community, many different families can have similar traditions. Let's now turn to page 170 to record what we know about culture. This is our new vocabulary word, culture. It is the way of life for a group of people. We said that culture is the way of life for a group of people. Culture is an important part of our community. This was the end of our lesson today. See you next lesson. Goodbye, and thank you for listening.